Okay, I'm live here again with Uncle James Ali Bashir for our follow-up interview after interview. I think it was, when did we do an interview, Uncle? Uncle?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? When did we do our interview? Was it yesterday?
I believe it was Sunday.
Sunday. Well, today's Tuesday, right? Okay, cool. So, how are you feeling anyway, Uncle?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Great. Well, as you know, this morning I woke up to a bundle of journalists that have listened in on our last interview regarding your thoughts on Usyk, and some of the headlines were that it said that you were disappointed in Usyk's performance. One article said that you don't think that Usyk's ready to box Joshua or Tyson Fury. Another article said Usyk should find a new trainer. So these are all things that you did say in the interview, and I want to say thank you to the journalists in Ukraine and in Russia who pick up a lot of our interviews, and shout out to UA Boxing News, who are fabulous and have supported us ever since I think I started out doing boxing interviews. So shout out to them. But yeah, it's all over Google News at the moment, your comments about Usyk. So first of all, have you had any thought about what you said yesterday or on Sunday?
First of all and foremost, I'm a boxing fan as well as I am an observant. You know, I sit back and I dissect each fight. It's part of my nature. That's what makes me who I am, a boxing teacher. And when I look at a individual such as Oleksandr Usyk, a person that possesses so much ability, and then when I don't see him at his very best, then that spoils me. And I, like many other fans, am spoiled. We like to see him at his very best. And I don't think that fight shedded any light on his ability. Not even 80% of his ability. He won that fight with 30-35% of his ability. And I don't think that those efforts that will be good enough to box Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. Those are the two guys at the top that I'm focused on.
Your harshest critic would turn to you and say, well, it's because you got sacked. You're bitter. What's your response to that?
I'd say that's a lot of foolishness, because I've never had anything critical to say about Oleksandr Usyk on, before, during, or after the time that I worked with him. I've always been very supportive of him, and I'm still supportive of him to this day. I'm just an extremist. Like most teachers throughout the world, most teachers are very extreme in the particular area that they're teaching in, and I am no exception to that rule. You know, I'm a fanatic, you know, and when I see a guy out there that I work with that possesses so much ability, and then when I see him only working with a small percentage of ability.
Uncle, can you repeat that last bit, please? Say that last bit again. Because he had a disruption.
When I see him out there working with a small percentage of his ability, you know, knowing all of the ability that he possessed that he didn't use, then, you know, me being an extremist, I, like most teachers, want to see the best. And I don't think that we saw even a fraction of the best of Oleksandr Usyk. But he did say that, you know, the year off may or may have not affected him. You know, so we give him some credit for that, you know, that he did make note that, you know, he had been out a year. So that, too, could have played into it, you know.
However, somebody quite rightly pointed out that Dereck Chisora had been out for about a year as well.
And Dereck Chisora fought like Dereck Chisora fights.
So he's been out a year.
Usyk did not fight like Usyk fights.
When has Usyk last fought the way Usyk fights then? If you're saying it's 35%, how much percent was it when he fought Tony Bellew?
I think that he fell asleep at the wheel, if you will, versus Tony Bellew.
Okay.
It took him a couple of rounds to get into the groove. A lot of things affect a lot of fighters, but Usyk is in the spotlight. He can't afford those kind of performances. Okay,
well, what about the Chaz Witherspoon fight? Was he at the wheel, behind the wheel, out the car? Where was he at the Chaz Witherspoon fight?
Again, I don't know whether he was into what he was doing, whether he's up for the fight. I think they changed opponents at the last minute for the Witherspoon fight, so I don't know whether he was really up for that fight.
Okay.
Whether he really.
Okay. All right. What about the Bradis fight? That was a very close fight as well. What percentage was Usyk at then?
The Breeders' fight. I thought that it was the wrong strategy. It was completely the wrong strategy.
Explain.
I think that there was a better way to box Breeders, but to give Breeders credit, he's a respectful fighter.
Oh yeah,
he knows how to fight. He knows how to fight, and he's a pretty good puncher too.
So I'm just trying to find out what this level is, because as far as I'm concerned, I'm trying to, and for the boxing fans, not just in the UK or in America, but of course, Ukrainian fans, they love Oleksandr Usyk. They want to know, as you're being his ex-trainer, what this level is, because we're yet to see this level. It's like, are we waiting for something that will never happen? Has Oleksandr Usyk reached his level? Because, and if there is another level that you're talking about, who's going to untap that level from him? And if he's going to be untapped, not if it is meant to be untapped, why is it not being untapped so far?
There was a gold rush many years ago in California.
Mm-hmm.
And it is said that gold was in those mountains for countless years, untapped. And somebody mistakenly encountered that gold. In Usyk's case, he's untapped gold, but he needs to be tapped in that area gold, because time don't wait for anybody. You have a certain window to box, and to exemplify your magnificence, and then you go downhill. By this time in Muhammad Ali's career, he had already reached great heights at 33 years old. Usyk has yet to reach great heights. I mean, he achieved a great thing by becoming the undisputed cruiserweight champion, which I expected, which I told you many years ago that he would. And I also told you that he would become heavyweight champion. But looking at him in this last weekend fight, he needs work. He needs work, and he needs insight. That's all that I have to say about that. He needs work and needs insight.
Well, I said to you before, it looks like he's going backwards, because he's not going forwards. He looks like he's going backwards.
There's a parable, I believe, in the Bible. It says, pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before the fall. If Usyk is so proud, or Usyk is so into being the boss of his own operation, that he would go on and try to fight Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury in the stature that he exemplified the other night in the ring, I don't think that is going to work. And I'll be the first to say it. I don't think that is going to work. I think that he's going to have to raise his game 5 or 6 notches to beat either one of those guys. They'll be better prepared for him after viewing the fight the other night. And like I said, Usyk is an untapped reservoir of talent, but it has to be tapped. And if nobody is there in his corner to extract that ability from him, if Oleksandr Usyk is to the point where he feels that he does not need anybody due to the fact, I've seen a lot of people who have been the Olympic champions and stuff, and they get to the point where they feel like they don't need to be told what to do. I know what to do in the ring. I've been in the World Series. I've been in the World Series of boxing. I've done this in boxing. I've done that in boxing. I don't need a real good teacher. I just need somebody there to give me the water and
cheerleader.
Do a little window dressing, little window dressing, and I can do the rest.
Yes.
So, I've seen that before.
Lennox Lewis is a perfect example before he got knocked out by Oliver McCall. He got Pepe Correa in, cheerleader, and when Lennox got knocked out, he said, up to the point before I got knocked out by Pepe Correa, I was just relying on my amateur skills.
I think that in his case, I think that maybe he feels that he does not need an insight in the corner, because the people that worked the corner the other night, they did not have the aptitude to steer the corner. I think that Oleksandr Usyk denied himself a great showing. I think that he denied himself a KO. I thought he could have knocked out Dereck Chisora. Again, Dereck Chisora looked gassed after the 7th round, 8th round, 9th round, and especially in the 10th and 11th, he looked gassed. So, had a mindset been in the corner to tell Oleksandr Usyk to sit down on the punches and take the fight to Dereck Chisora, I don't think Dereck Chisora could have did anything to stop Oleksandr Usyk from coming.
Please, those people, sorry, Uncle, those people are listening in and making their comments. Please do leave your questions for Uncle Bashir. We will call your name out or your YouTube name out, and we will definitely ask your question. Uncle, again, people are saying that Usyk's too small at heavyweight for the likes of Joshua and Fury. Is this true?
He's no smaller than Evander Holyfield was when Evander Holyfield made his assault on the heavyweight division.
Exactly.
No smaller. And more athletic than Evander Holyfield. So I don't buy that.
I don't buy it either.
It's all about boxing skills. It's all about being to apply critical application at critical times in a fight. You gotta, and as Kenny Rogers said, you gotta know when to hold them. You know when to fold them. You gotta pick your spots to do the boxing, pick your spots to do the fighting. But you fight and you keep it moving.
You fight when he wants to box. You box when he wants to fight.
Tyson Fury is a big guy. He's a pretty athletic guy. He's not the biggest puncher to be that big. Nikolai Valuev was a huge guy too, but he wasn't the biggest puncher.
Exactly.
So God giveth and God taketh away. You could be a big guy. I know a lot of big guys that couldn't punch. And quite frankly, I think that if Tyson Fury was a smaller heavyweight, if he was 6'3", 6'2", we wouldn't even be talking about Tyson Fury. I think that part of who Tyson Fury is his height and his reach. He's a good boxer, but he's nothing special. If he was 6'2", 6'3", we wouldn't even be having a conversation about Tyson Fury. And I challenge anybody to say different.
Yeah, people also say because Chisora was so big, that's why Usyk looked so poor.
Pardon me?
People say because Chisora was so big, that's why Chisora was so big, that's why Usyk didn't perform. I'm not saying that.
Why Usyk didn't do what?
That's why Usyk didn't perform, because Chisora was too big for him.
I don't understand that. I'm saying that Oleksandr Usyk is a strong, a very strong, hard worker. As he said, I was prepared for a tough fight, even tougher than the one that I got. I expected a tough fight, but even tougher than the one that I got. I was prepared for that, mentally and physically. I've worked with Oleksandr those 3 years, and I've come to understand the kind of guy he is. The guy, not just the physical guy, but the mental guy.
Can you explain to some people who might not be aware, because I think there's some misunderstanding as to the sort of guys, because you were his trainer, the sort of guys, the size and the type of guys that Oleksandr Usyk was sparring when you were working with him?
He worked with some pretty strong guys, pretty strong guys. He always sought out the best guys to work with. And I would put him through a battery of tests, and that test would be sparring 4, maybe 5 guys at a time. And I've even made him spar all the way up to 15 rounds. I've had critics say that that's overkill. Well, that's your opinion. But my opinion says that those 15 rounds prepares the guy mentally. And I was putting the guys in with Oleksandr Usyk every other round. I let a guy go 2 rounds, then I let a guy 1 round, then I put another guy in fresh. I kept putting fresh guys in front of him all the time. And he competed and actually did those 15 rounds on a number of occasions. 12 rounds, 15 rounds. I'd push him mentally. Well, because it's easy to go 6 rounds, easy to go 8 rounds.
Uncle, you have somebody here disagreeing with your opinion of Usyk's performance. He says, G Poker says, hold on, let's get this here. Usyk did perform. The only thing wrong with the performance is he didn't get Chisora out of there when he could have done, but he did perform.
Well, that's his opinion. I can't take that from him. He saw one thing. I'm looking at it from a 51-year position. 51 years I've trained boxers all over the world. And I'm looking at Oleksandr Usyk, who I've trained for 3 years. And I'm telling you that Usyk that was in that ring the other night only showed up 35%.
It says, come on. You don't believe that? He said, come on, you don't believe? This is what he's saying. G Poker continues, come on, you don't believe that? Usyk was in control, boxing from round 3.
Boxing?
From round 3, he was in control, this guy is saying.
Okay.
G Poker.
Okay. What he has to do is show me 15 people that would agree on him with that. Show me 5 people that will agree with him. For the most part, most of the people in the fight game, fans and pundits alike, say that Usyk didn't show up. In my opinion, from what I know about Oleksandr Usyk, that wasn't the Usyk that I know. Nah, it wasn't even a fraction of him, of what he's capable of doing. So the guy that's talking to you now, he's talking to you from a wheelchair somewhere, I mean, who is he? Who is he? Who is he?
You're a savage, Uncle. You're a savage. You're a proper savage, Uncle. From a wheelchair. You're a savage.
Yeah.
Uncle, what are you drinking? Uncle, what are you drinking? I want some of that. Whatever you're drinking or eating, I want some of that for my next show. I want some of that for my next show.
Listen, the guy's talking out the side of his neck. Because he does not know anything about Oleksandr Usyk, and I spent 3 years with him. So I'm telling you, I'm telling him, I'm telling you, and I'm telling anybody else in the world that listens, I know Oleksandr Usyk as well as anybody knows him. And what they saw on that ring the other night wasn't even a fraction of what Oleksandr Usyk is capable of doing.
Oh boy.
Now, like I said, pride goeth before destruction and a hearty spirit before the fall. Now, Usyk needs to go back, examine the tape, and he'll criticize himself and say, damn, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I didn't do this. Like I said, so many things that we worked on, I didn't see in that ring the other night. If Usyk had sat down, I would have had him stop burning so much energy moving. It's easy for a person outside the ring to make assessments. But I'm making the assessment of a trainer at some point in that fight, 7th, 8th, 9th round, I would have told him, stop the movement. You move when you have to move, because you got a tired man in front of you. He was visibly tired. And had Usyk sat down on those punches, he would have stopped Chisora.
He would have done. Retro for Life 79 Boxing says Usyk is a fight away from getting worked over like Lomachenko.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I think that Lomachenko was very concerned about Lopez's punching power. He was very concerned about Lopez's counter-punching ability, and that played into his psyche, along with the injury that he had in that arm. I don't know when he injured the arm in the fight. Maybe Lopez injured the arm with those shots that he was hitting him with. Lopez kept throwing shots in that chest area, so he might have knocked the arm out of place. It might have been Lopez's punch that ripped that arm, because Lopez was landing clean shots in Lomachenko's chest, and when Lomachenko spent around, Lopez spent right with him. So they did their homework. They was prepared for that fight. They were very prepared for that fight. Everything that Lomachenko did, Lopez was right there. And when Lomachenko tried to launch an attack, I mean, it was late in the day. It was very late in the day. He needed a knockout by the time he tried to launch an attack. And then...
Go ahead, Uncle.
And then the attack that he launched was ineffective.
So, Mr. Poker responds by saying, wasn't directed at Bashir, was directed at Dragon, saying Dereck was manhandling Usyk.
Huh?
He said, well, yeah. So, okay, this guy Dragon is saying basically the heavyweights are too big for Usyk, and they figured him out. And that's why Chisora couldn't get knocked out, because every time Usyk tried to land on him, Chisora would respond.
Again, it goes back to boxing. The name of the profession is not punching. The name of your profession is not being big and not being strong. The name of the profession is boxing application. Knowing when to hold them and knowing when to fold them. You know, to get in, to get out. I mean, like I said, Usyk is no smaller than Evander Holyfield was. Now look at Evander Holyfield fight guys like Michael Dokes. Dokes came in, 30 pounds heavier? And can box twice, 3, 4, 5 times as good as Dereck Chisora, and can punch with both hands. But Holyfield stayed with Dokes tooth and nail and got the knockout. He knocked out Alderson Rodriguez.
Yep, 2 rounds. Oh, on a comment like that, somebody said to me, that's all well cool about Evander Holyfield, but we all know he was PD'd up to his eyeballs.
Well, did they ever prove that?
I think there was some things about Holyfield. There was some stuff about him, and Tyson himself came out and said that he believed Holyfield was on something for his first fight. So he said the second fight, he just did what he could, because at the end of the day, he didn't want to lose the money. See what I thought, Holyfield. That's what Stacey McKinley told me.
Well, that's the new cop-out. Pacquiao, Holyfield. The new cop-out is that the guys were on something. Maybe not. But the fact still remains they were never proven to be on something. So they can assume something all they want to assume. Until they're proven, then it means nothing.
So Gorguja says Usyk looked fearful at Dereck at times.
Wait a minute. I suppose Holyfield was on something. The 3 times he fought Riddick Bowe too, he was on something.
I'm not saying anything. I love Evander. I love Evander. Usyk looked fearful of Dereck at times. This is Gorguja says this. Looking at the heavens and visibly praying before every round. I think that's why he was moving so much. He knew one clean shot from Dereck could be good night. That is something I wanted to ask you about. That I forgot to ask you about Usyk praying after every round when he fought Dereck Chisora. Any thoughts about that? I've never seen Usyk do that before.
Usyk is a very spiritual guy.
Yes.
From what I've come to understand. You know, we travel together, you know, to many places in the world, and he's always been a spiritual guy. And he remains that kind of guy. You know, so I don't know what that was all about. It's a scary place. You know, people that never boxed before, people that never been in that ring before, that ring is a scary place.
Oh yeah.
Because you're naked to the world out there. One clean shot on the chin, on the temple, you know, in the liver, can end it for you. That could be the end. You know, so I don't have no problem with it. You know, he prayed, and he got the win. I guess he felt that he needed that, and his application was on time.
Okay. Retros for Life 79 Boxing says, I don't see Usyk stopping any top 10 heavyweights. It will be long, drawn out points wins.
I think again, I'll reiterate, the name of the game is boxing application. He's got to get a mindset in that corner to tell him when to go. Because Usyk is a good listener. That's one thing that I will say about him. He's a good listener. He knows how to box. He knows how to slip and slide and stay to the side and all that greasy kid stuff. But let me tell you something. When you tell him to sit down on those punches and go after the opponent, he's going to do it. He's a good listener in that corner. So if it all boils down to who's in that corner steering the vehicle. If you tell the guy to go out there and stay safe and just get the win, that's what he's going to do. Well, he needs somebody to call to his attention that Dereck Chisora is winded. He's out of gas. He can be taken right now. And Usyk would have listened. I know the man. He would have listened, and he would have been gamed, and he would have jumped on Dereck Chisora, and he would have stopped him. I felt that he could stop Dereck Chisora.
BG London says, Usyk says, I'm fight Joshua next period, vacant or not, or vacant or fight. So basically, I'm fighting Joshua next, or I'm taking the vacant title.
Well, he's right. He's the number one contender. But I would, if I had anything to do with it, I would sit back and observe my efforts. I would go into my own mind because I really don't think with the performance that he displayed the other night, I really don't think that he's going to beat Fury or Joshua. I just don't see him beating him with that kind of performance. Now, styles make fights. It could be a whole different fight versus either one of those guys. But I'm just saying, if he did that kind of movement to avoid the shots from Dereck Chisora, then what's going to happen when he faces Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury? Because Anthony Joshua is a combination puncher, and he's a good body puncher. Most of the body punches that Dereck Chisora landed on Usyk were muffled and too close, and they were clumsy. They wasn't accurate body punches. They weren't the kind of body punches that Joe Frazier was capable of delivering. They weren't the kind of body punches that a Mike Tyson was capable of delivering. You understand? Those were good. Those wasn't the kind of body punches that Ernie Shavers would have been landing to the body. You understand? Yeah. So this Dereck Chisora was clumsy. You know, he was clumsy, and he was throwing wild punches. You know, as Muhammad Ali would famously say about George Fowler, he was throwing washerwoman punches. He was swinging for the fences, and it looked like he was playing a lottery out there. He just was swinging, hoping that I could hit something. So I didn't see any calculated punches coming from Dereck Chisora. Maybe the first 2-3 rounds, but after that, it became a wishing contest.
Well, you have somebody who disagrees with you here and says that he sees that Usyk won the fight 9 rounds to 3. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, I can't dispute what he's saying, because it was just an ugly fight. It was an ugly fight. So if he said 9 rounds to 3, or 8 rounds to 4, somewhere around the area, yeah, because Usyk was just taking what Dereck Chisora was making himself available for. It wasn't really a boxing contest. It was just like, I'm just here, and I'm making mistakes, so just counter me. I thought at any time that Usyk was going to land that left hand, follow with a right hook and another left hand, and it was going to sit Dereck Chisora down.
Next question.
It never happened.
Next question. He asked you, what reasons did Usyk give for leaving?
I never received any reason from anybody leaving. I never received it. I'm just, your services are no longer required. It didn't say that you did this wrong, or you did that wrong, or you did this wrong, or you put something in my drink, in my water.
We'll come to that in a minute.
He just said your services are no longer required, and that was it. That's what I'm talking about. You gotta. It doesn't. People said that sour grapes. I'm not sour grapes. I've always supported Oleksandr Usyk, and I still support him. I'm a boxing purist. I'm a boxing fan. If I can't train you, then I want to sit on the side and I want to root. I want to say he's doing this good, he's doing that good, he's doing it. And throughout every conversation that we've had, what have I said wrong about Oleksandr Usyk? What if any have I ever said wrong about him? What if any did I ever have in your conversation anything ill about Oleksandr Usyk? Can you remember one?
Not really.
No. Because one fighter does not define the kind of teacher, the kind of trainer, the kind of teacher, the kind of trainer, the kind of teacher, the kind of trainer. To be a good trainer, you have to first be a good teacher. Nowadays, people just jump into boxing and everybody's a trainer. Everybody does this, everybody does that, everybody does this with no freaking credentials. Nobody has credentials. Most of the trainers out there now do not have any credentials. If you ask them where they learn from or who they learn from, they don't have no credentials. So I'm a teacher before I'm a trainer. And I've done it for 51 years.
Yeah, educate these people. These people need educating.
You understand? So these guys go out there saying that they're this and they're that. Don't let the guys go out there and come into a world champion. A lot of guys go out there to have a world champion for one fight. They never defend and they never come back to regain the title after they lose it. But because they had that one champion or that two champion, that makes them an expert. I said, bullshit. It doesn't make them an expert. It just made somebody in the right place at the right time. But there's no credentials. They don't show no track record for how they got there, how to get there again. So that goes little or nowhere with me. I paid my dues. I've been here for 51 years, and I've worked with countless great fighters over the years. Jamil McCline, I worked with Jamil McCline. Jamil McCline didn't even have an amateur career. He didn't have an amateur career. I'm the first one that put the gloves on him and showed him the do's and don'ts of boxing. You know, I've worked with Shannon Briggs, Monty Barrett, Maurice Harris, all these good guys. And now I'm working with Blasterenko, Lennox Lewis, Vladimir Klitschko. When Lennox Lewis introduced me to his wife during the time that Anthony Joshua met Vladimir Klitschko, Lennox Lewis introduced me to his wife as my trainer. He didn't say this is Bashir. He said this is my trainer, to show anybody and everybody that he has respect for the knowledge that I have parted with him over the years. You understand? So it comes with earning. So if Oleksandr Usyk didn't need my services, that's his business. That was his choice, you know. But it didn't affect me as an individual. I just kept right on moving, and I will keep right on moving because fighters come and go.
Fighters, yeah, they do.
I'm a boxing trainer, and I'll keep on going. I'll keep on going until God turns out the lights. So
yeah. Leif Graverson asks, should Usyk risk any more fights with his current team if he is going on to fight better opposition at heavyweight?
I don't know what he wants to do with his current team. I would suggest that he has the current team if he needs them, if he values them that much. I think that he should keep them intact, provided that they don't interfere with the guy that he's got to bring in, because he's got to bring in somebody. He's got to bring in somebody to give him the application, the boxing application that he's going to need to go up top. Because when you go against Tyson Fury, when you go against Anthony Joshua, you've got to be better than you were the other night. You have to be better. You have to be sharper, you know. And I don't know that Anthony Joshua is going to even have the backing. You know, Tyson Fury seems to have found his mojo in the new trainerships that he has. But the one thing about Tyson Fury is that Tyson Fury realized after the fight that he had
With Wilder,
he said, "Listen, man, I got to do something different." And he collected, because he's the CEO of Tyson Fury Inc. So he said, you got to find a comfort zone. So he brought in a new training staff, you know, Javen Hill and Andy Lee, you know, and he brought in a new training staff, a training staff, and lo and behold, what we got? You know, so Oleksandr Usyk has to do something similar to that. I would suggest that he does the same thing that he did with me, that he should part company and bring in a whole new staff. Bring a whole new staff in with one trainer, not a bunch of trainers, not 15, 16 trainers. You bring in one voice, one mindset, and the two of them work together to get the job done.
you've worked with Usyk. What type of trainer would suit Usyk, in your opinion?
He's a disciplined guy. Very disciplined. Very easy to take instructions. He follows instructions good.
So who would you recommend then?
I'm not getting involved in that. I'm not recommending nobody.
You'll
never be looking back at me and saying, "Damn, Bashir the one recommended this guy." I'm not recommending nobody. I'll stay out of that. You know, when Oleksandr Usyk acquired my services, he could have had anybody in the world to train him. But out of all of the people in the world, he sought my services. He brought me from New York to Ukraine. Out of all of the people in the world that he had known and that had been in contact with over those years, he chose me because of the time that we worked in the Vladimir Klitschko camp together. It was something about me that attracted him, and the rest is history. I came in and I trained him for the 3 years. I got him to the World Championship.
Okay, I'm cool.
10 fights.
Check this out. This gentleman says Ali Bashir seems a good man, but I think there's more to the story that he doesn't want to tell. Not saying he was in the wrong.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. There was no friction. There was no falling out. There was no putting mixing the tonic in the drink. There was nothing. It was just, I don't need your services no more, and that was it. But I'm not hiding there. I don't have anything to hide. You know, I am what I am. I am who I am who I am. I am what I am. You know. But we didn't have any falling out. And plus, Usyk and I, we've seen each other since then.
I've seen you with him since, so I get that.
You know, we get along fine, you know. I never mentioned nothing about the time I trained him, and he never mentions about the times that I trained him. We see each other, we greet each other the same way we always greet each other, and I could care less and he could care less. But I will say that he has to get somebody in there that knows when to hold him and knows what the people that he has, you know, they failed him. They failed him. You know, and when you vying for the heavyweight championship, there's no time to say, oh, I messed up that time, but I'll be better the next time. No. It's just like any giant corporation. When you screw up an account, then you got to go. You got to go. So I'm saying that Usyk needs to sit back and observe what he did or didn't do in that fight, and he needs to correct it going forward to Joshua and to Fury. As far as the gentleman saying that, you know, there's more behind the scenes that I'm not telling, I'm telling you, I'm telling everybody, there is no more behind the scenes. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong that I can see. I never did anything. You know, when I go into a training camp, I go in there to do my job. I'm all business. You know, and if I had did something wrong, then I wouldn't have been with Vladimir Klitschko for the last 13 years, and we remain very closely tied. I was very close to Lennox Lewis to this day. To this day, I'm close to Vladimir Klitschko and Lennox Lewis. You know, and Monty Barry, and Jamil McCline, and Shannon Briggs. So I stay close to these guys. When they leave boxing, I still maintain a relationship with them. And I look to have that same credibility with Oleksandr Usyk, despite the fact that we don't work together anymore.
Okay.
But you can't allow pride to get in the way of success. You know, I'm not saying that he needs to bring me into his camp. No, not at all. I'm just saying that he needs to bring in somebody reliable that he can adapt to. And when I say adapt to, he needs to do it right now so he can start adapting.
So the next question will be asked, if Usyk put the call in and said, look, uncle, I'm going to scrap this team. I want you back to become heavyweight champion of the world. Would you take it?
I really don't know. I really don't know. I'm in a position now when I'm working with a couple of young fighters, and I want to dedicate time to them. I want to dedicate time to them to get them. You know, they said about Jay-Z the rapper. They said Jay-Z, you know, wasn't as good as the people that he was around. Say if they was as good as Jay-Z, then hey, they said they made Jay-Z. Jay-Z said if you made me, then make another Jay. If you so good. So my goal now is to try to produce. My goal now is to try to produce another boxer. You know, I want to work on that. You know.
I hear that. So he continues by going, let's keep it real. I think this guy is probably, I think he's from, I think he's England. I think he's from European, maybe Russian or Ukrainian himself. He says, "Let's be real. A white Ukrainian doesn't sell. He's going to get robbed against a chiseled Afro money making Brit." What do you think about that?
Say that again, please.
Let's keep it. I'll put it up on the screen so people can see, read themselves. Let's keep it real. A white Ukrainian doesn't sell. He's going to get robbed against a chiseled Afro Brit money making machine. He's basically saying
Let me tell you something. You know what sells? You know what sells?
What sells?
A good ass whooping. You know what I'm saying? A good ass whooping. If Usyk goes out there and whoops ass the way he did with Tony Bellew, that sells. They don't care if you're white, black, blue, brown, or yellow. They want results. They want results. They don't want somebody cakewalking through a 12-round fight. They want action. And Usyk is capable. He's capable of delivering that action. All right? Very, very capable. He just needs somebody at the helm that say, okay, go get this guy and get him out of there. You know what I'm saying? And he's game. He's a game guy. You know, if you tell Oleksandr Usyk, okay, you got him, let's go. He's going to go get him.
David,
he's going to
roll the dice.
He's going to roll the dice.
David Hayes said, for over a year, Usyk can't handle a pressure fighter for 12 rounds.
Again, like I said, it goes back to the mindset that's in that corner. The mindset. Usyk can handle anything that comes that's put in front of him. I'm telling you. People say that I'm just talking like this about Usyk because we worked together before. But I know the man. I know the man. I know the inside of the man. You put some pressure on Usyk, Usyk could put some pressure back on you. It's just the mindset that's leading the charge. All right? Once Usyk gets revved up, once he's ready to go, he's going to fight. He's going to fight. And I'm telling you, he can go out there and be as great a fighter as anybody that's out there right now. He can shine. Because I've seen the other side. I've seen the other side of this guy. Bellew made a point. He said that Usyk likes what he's doing and he's vicious. There's a vicious side to Oleksandr Usyk. Just need somebody to say go when they go. When the fighter's doing the fight, he's acting in remote. You understand?
Yeah.
He's tired. He's hurt. He's getting hit. He's acting in remote. So the people in the corner, the fighter becomes dependent on them. So say make a left at that street, and when you go down 3 blocks and make a right turn, he's dependent on the people in the corner to guide him rightly. And I'm telling you, the guy can fight.
Marco asks, so what's wrong with Usyk's team?
What did you say?
Marco asked the question, so what's wrong with Usyk's team?
What's wrong with his team?
Yeah.
What's right with his team? Results. That's what we're talking about. We're talking results here. Anybody can go in the corner, you know? What's right with his team? Did he shine the other night? No. To you, did he shine the other night?
No.
No. And most of the people on the internet are saying, no, he didn't shine. He didn't shine. He needed to make a splash coming into the heavyweight division. And I think one article I read about said that Usyk caused more questions than he did answers.
Uh-huh.
You understand? Tank Davis went out there and
answered the questions.
He slipped. He slipped in a left uppercut. One punch, and he squeezed himself down to 130 pounds to do it. One punch, the lights is out. He made a statement, and this is what the people in the boxing world looking for. They're looking for statements, man. They're not looking for somebody just to survive. They're not looking for somebody just to show up and get a decision, a miserable decision at that. I'm calling a spade a spade. I'm just talking like the most of the people in the world are talking. I'm speaking from my heart. I'm speaking from my vision. I saw. I know the difference between the. You talking about what's wrong with his team? What's right with his team? Ask the question. What's right about his team? He needed to make a statement that night, and he didn't make the statement.
A lot of these people are quite happy when you question things. When things are going okay and you question it, they have a problem with it. But when things go wrong, then they like to point the finger after. A lot of these people that come on are very reactive people, not proactive people. You can see the problem, they'll ignore the problem, or maybe they don't understand what the problem is until they're being made to understand what the problem is, which is by their fighter getting brutally knocked out. And then they call their fighter hype jobs, but it's not really a hype job. It's just that they didn't pay attention to the fighter.
I remember during the Tyson Lennox Lewis fight, and Lennox was out there dilly-dallying around, and he came back to the corner.
Yeah.
Emmanuel came in the ring and said, "If you don't get this guy out of there right now, he's gonna fuck around and he's gonna hit you with one. And he's gonna get your ass out of there. So you better go to work. You better sit down and start throwing some punches and do something otherwise, because he gonna mess around, land one of them punches, and he gonna knock you out." So that's the point. That's what I'm saying. That's when somebody made a stark difference.
Be able to put a rocket up Usyk's ass.
He made it clear to him and said that if you're gonna keep on messing around with Mike Tyson, he's gonna land one of those punches and he's gonna get you out of there. So you better go to work. That's what I'm talking about. Action in the corner. That's what I'm talking about. Making a really sharp decision. You got to make sharp decisions and make them understand the seriousness of what they're doing. But if you're out there just slipping and sliding, say, okay, you just keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll deliver a boring ass decision. Because most of the people that watched the fight said it was a boring fight.
Wait, hold a second. Vladimir Klitschko bored us for years with his holding and grappling and wrestling style.
Hey, you can't argue with the people say.
I can. He was wrestling for how many years was, if you want to call that boxing? Look at the Povetkin fight. Grab and hold, grab and hold, grab and hold. Then he tried to do that stuff with Tyson Fury. What happened in the end?
Listen, can't nobody argue with what the fans say. All right?
But
the people can't argue with the fans say. And I am one of the people that I always confronted Vladimir Klitschko after a fight. And if I didn't like the fight, I came back and I told him. And I was the only one in that camp, and I'll say it the third time. I'm the only one in that camp that would come back and tell him, yo, man, that was boring. Or, yo, man, you need to do this. Or, yo, man, you need to do that. And sometimes he would get upset with him, but he would listen to me.
Well, the writing was on the wall in that Brian Jennings fight. I remember you saying it. He looked terrible in the Brian Jennings fight.
I thought he could have got Brian Jennings out of there. But that's another story.
Okay. So,
like I said, the mindset of that corner, it makes all the difference with fighters.
Yes.
It's the mindset.
Chris, let's get Chris Mason in. He's saying, good evening, Chris, by the way. He says he needs someone to add to his amazing fundamentals that would allow a game plan at heavyweight where he's going to be too small against the Giants. I think he could be AJ with a great game plan.
Well, the AJ that he's going to see is going to be a different AJ that we saw in the few Ruiz fights. All right? The AJ that he's going to see is going to be a stronger, sharper, harder punching AJ that we saw in the Ruiz contest. So,
okay.
Styles make fights, we'll see.
if you're not sure of the importance of a coach and a game plan, just look at what Kronk did for Feather Fisted Fury.
Well, like I said, it's amazing what a fighter does when he's comfortable, when he's happy.
Okay.
I mean, you was in there with
The guy of 9 losses.
a guy that's never learned how to box. Deontay Wilder has never learned how to box. He's a powerful guy, and he has a good jab, but he never learned the logistics of boxing. He just depended heavily on the right hand, and that stunted his growth a lot.
What a right hand he's got, though.
Huh?
What a right hand he's got, though.
That's what I'm talking about. That stunted his growth. Because he has so much success with throwing the right hand that, hey, I don't have to learn how to box. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. People are asking questions. People start making comments. Coach Chris jumps in and says, amazing what you can do with loaded gloves too.
Again, we're just assuming. Nobody's proven that. No, nobody's proven it. They show different examples about gloves on the internet. Nobody, when you people keep saying things, to come back and prove it. I don't want to talk about that no more. I don't want to talk about foolishness to me.
Okay. So Dragon says here, walking Usyk down is simple, just so effective. It's actually crazy. Usyk is probably one of the easiest guys for these heavyweights. That's what Dragon West says.
Walking him down?
Yes.
No, walking Usyk down is not an easy task. Because the average heavyweight that's coming in there is 6'8", 6'7", 250 and above. After 5 rounds of trying to get up with Usyk, they're dead in the water. They got 2 fights on their hand: fight fatigue and then trying to fight Usyk.
Mm-hmm. And getting punched back at the same time. Yeah, it's not easy.
And getting punched at the same time.
This guy continues, who said earlier on about the chiseled Afro man versus the Ukrainian. He now turns around and says Vladimir is an all-time great.
Yeah, because he got results. He got knockouts.
He says, please tell me another fighter where a fighter's ear got cut and got a fractured skull. One more fight, coach. 51 years, please tell us.
Say that question again.
The question is by Coach Chris. He says, please tell me another fight where a fighter's ear got cut and got a fractured skull. One more fight, coach. 51 years, tell us.
He's alluding to Deontay Wilder?
Yes.
Oh, man, listen. Come on, man. That's it. I mean, I don't know. I don't know where. Like I said, they didn't prove nothing, man. It could have been a headbutt, it could have been an elbow, it could have been a number of things, but they didn't prove nothing. That's what I'm saying to them. You can come back and say all you want to say, but did nobody prove nothing? Nobody brought nothing to the table and said this is what happened. There was no video of it. There was no kind of proof whatsoever. To this day, there's no kind of proof. So I don't want to talk about that foolishness.
What about if he goes to court and the investigation proves otherwise?
Then we'll have some meat to chew on. But in the meantime, we got none.
Okay. Does Mr. Bashir think that Usyk should stay at 217 or should he move up in weight?
I think that guys like Oleksandr Usyk and Michael Hunter, I think they should stay between 200 and 218. That'll suit them best. Instead of trying to get muscular, pick up muscle mass and all that stuff, I think they'll be better just being at their natural weights. Like I said, the name of the game is it boils down to boxing.
Okay. Coach Chris ends by saying, "You ain't getting cut on the ear and a fractured skull with gloves on."
Okay. That's his opinion until they prove something. Coach Chris can take a hike, man. I don't want to hear that. You know, you got to come back and prove something. If the powers that be can't prove it, then what the hell are we talking about here, man? You know, Coach Chris, what are we talking about? The powers that be never approve nothing. The commissions, the referees, the judges, the officials, nobody has proven anything. And Tyson Fury is still the champion. So until somebody proves something, Coach Chris, it's nothing. It's going nowhere. It's in the water. You know, we can talk about the aliens that they found in the Nevada desert, but where's the proof? Where's the proof? You know, we talking about those aliens. Where are they? We've been talking about those aliens for what, the last 80 years. But where are the proof? There's no proof.
Okay. Do you have a message to the journalists, the Ukrainian and Russian journalists that have been listening to you regarding Usyk?
I think that people around the world depend on the journalists.
Yes.
Around the world depend on journalists to tell the truth. The people who don't have insight, the people who are not attached to all the inside details. I think that the journalist has a duty to speak on what knowledge they have about what they're talking about. And that, in this case, is boxing. You know, you got to have the courage to speak out and call the shot the way you see it. You know what I'm saying? The way I'm speaking out. You know, people call them saying this foolish stuff, talking about, I'm disgruntled. I'm a disgruntled ex-employee. Are they freaking serious? You think Usyk is the first person that ever dismissed me? No. People get dismissed for different things. Sometimes for being too studious. Sometimes for being too disciplined. A lot of fighters do not like discipline. They do not like structure. And when that happens, a lot of times they say, listen, I don't need this guy in the corner. I don't want this guy in the camp. I don't want him in the corner. You understand? Mm-hmm. For different reasons. I was removed from the Lennox Lewis camp at one point. In the 8 years that I spent in that camp, I was removed from the camp because Prince Nassim Hamid's brothers didn't want me there. They did not want me there because of some disagreement that they was having with a friend of mine, Charles Muniz. And they wanted me to sign a waiver in order to stay in that camp. And that waiver said that I, at no time, would be in contact with my friend, Charles Muniz, during the time that I was in the camp. But I was in the camp for Lennox. I wasn't there for the Prince. But they were sharing the camp. And I told the people, I said, I cannot sign that. They said, well, why can't you? I said, because I would be a hypocrite. Because Charles Muniz is my friend, man. I can't sign that. They said, we're going to ask you to leave the camp. I said, okay, I'll do that. But I won't sign that because I know that in my heart I would be a hypocrite. You know, so I left. And then when the Prince went to fight, I came back. So the media, the people depends on their insight to tell the truth, to tell the truth. Anybody that says that Oleksandr Usyk did something for his cause as a heavyweight contender this past weekend, I challenge their knowledge about the sport of boxing. I'm saying that Oleksandr Usyk only showed up 30-35% at the most. But the people who were looking for Oleksandr Usyk to come out there and make a splash in the division, you have to continue to wait for that splash. I know that he's capable of doing far better. I know that we didn't see the real Usyk. We didn't see him the other night. We didn't see him. We didn't see a fraction of what Oleksandr Usyk is capable of doing. When Usyk shines, you can believe you'll know it. Everybody will know it.
What's it says here? The guy says, respect your insight, Mr. Bashir. You have enough years in the game. Deep down, I think he still wants to coach Usyk because of his skill set.
Like I said, Oleksandr Usyk is a beautiful fighter. He's a beautiful fighter, you know. And when I see the performance that he displayed the other night, it makes me say, damn, you know, I kept saying I was waiting for him to explode out there, and that never happened. You know, it just never happened. I love boxing.
Okay.
You know,
I
love boxing.
I want to change something slightly with you. Alexander Povetkin is now reportedly in hospital for COVID.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to my friend. You know, Alexander Povetkin. I love you, man. You're a good dude. I really love that guy. He's a good guy. You know, that's one of the best human beings that I know. I'll say it again. He's one of the best human beings that I know. He's not a Russian. He's not a Ukrainian. He's not an African. He's not a Haitian or Asian. You know, he's just one of the best people that I've ever met in the sport of boxing or in life. Alexander Povetkin, big up, bro. Big up. Get better, man. Love you.
Povetkin out. Chisora said he'll throw himself in a couple of weeks, November 21st, to fight Dillian White. Eddie Hearn's offering Dillian White up as an opponent for Tyson Fury. And, of course, there's Deontay Wilder floating around as well. Michael Hunter says he'll fight Dillian White for free.
Michael Hunter said he'll fight Dillian White?
For free.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that fight. I'd like to see that fight. Because Michael Hunter realizes what's at stake. He understands that. He understands the language of what's at stake. I'd like to see Oleksandr Usyk and Michael Hunter again. You know? Because Michael Hunter understands what's at stake, and when he goes out there, he's going to go out there and give his best. He's going to give the top performance, you know?
Who wins?
When I'm watching these fights, man, I'm watching these fights, and I've got I can't sit down. I'm just so amped up in anticipation. So that's why I'm feeling this here now, you know.
So White versus Hunter, who wins?
Michael Hunter, Dillian White?
Yeah.
I'll go with Michael Hunter. I'll take Michael Hunter.
Why?
Because Dillian White has elected not to have a trainer. A lot of this stuff boils down to trainers. It's the mindset. It's the mindset of the fighter. The fighter's mindset is just like a Ferrari and an Audi. You know, even though the Audi can hang out with the Ferrari, it's the mechanics that's working on the car that sets them on that track, that sets them apart when they hit the track. I think that Dillian White has hurt himself with the mindset of the people, again, that's in the corner. I'm not saying that they're bad guys. I'm just saying that knowledge. You got trainers, you got good trainers, you have excellent trainers, and you have great trainers. Trainers are just like anybody else, you know? They're just like anybody else. You got to pay your dues. And I like most young trainers, I have my share of mistakes. And I'm sure every trainer, Eddie Futch, Emmanuel Stewart, they all have disappointments, you know, throughout their careers. And I made enough mistakes in these 51 years that I've been out there. I made a lot of mistakes, but I corrected them. I look back on it, I said, damn, I could have did this differently. I could have did that differently. If I had to do all over again, I would do it this way instead of doing it that way. You know, I look back on the Nikolai Valuev fight versus Monty Barry. And when I look back on the fight, I said, damn, I should have stopped the fight in this round as opposed to stopping it 2 rounds later. I thought that I should have stopped it 2 rounds sooner. But my influence from the people that was in the corner with me, just pulling my pants leg and saying, oh, give him another round. He's going to work it out. He's going to come back. And when I look back on the fight now, I said, wow, I should have stopped this fight 2 rounds sooner than what I did. So, yeah, everybody has some regrets, you know, but you got to learn from your mistakes. You got to learn from your mistakes. And you got to first be able to say that I made a mistake. A lot of people never do that.
So, Dillian Whyte, would you throw the dice and stick him in with Tyson Fury, or would you wait for a Povetkin rematch?
I'd put him in with Tyson Fury right now.
You would?
Yeah.
Why?
First of all, more money, higher profile. More money, higher profile. If you're gonna take a risk, take it for the best reward. The best reward is if you can knock off Tyson Fury, you in the thick of it.
Okay. What about a rematch with Dereck Chisora for a 3rd fight?
I wouldn't take that. I wouldn't take another fight with Dereck Chisora. Nothing to prove. Dillian Whyte has to be a little more reserved about his actions now. He's an older guy, you know. He got to invest his services in what's most beneficial, and what's most beneficial is not Dereck Chisora.
Okay, interesting. Can you give us any more information about Vlad Tsarenko?
Vlad Tsarenko is in training camp here in Kiev, Ukraine. We had a long talk tonight, and we're just going to go forward with the training process. I don't know whether we're going to stay here or whether we're going to venture out to another country, you know, to continue on our sparring services.
Okay.
You know, I think the more people that we spar with, the better, you know, the better his tenure will get. He spots, like I said, Joe Joyce, Romains DeVerne, you know, Du Bois. You know, he's sparred with some pretty good guys, and I'm looking to expand that. I think the more different styles we see, the better prepared that he'll be for the big test that's ahead of him in 2021. I'm expecting him to up his game, you know, and he wants to. Believe me, Vlad Tsarenko wants to. You know, so we must step up our game in 2021.
Did you have any concerns about Vlad in his last fight? Obviously, coming in a little bit more overweight and then getting rocked in that 1st round.
Yeah, I think he came in with that whole lackadaisical attitude. We spoke about that, you know, and he got clipped. He could have got knocked out. You know, in heavyweight boxing, that could have knocked him out, you know. And I spoke to him about that day, and I was a little upset about it. I was a little upset about it because he should have been more alert. He should have been more prepared to fight. When that bell rings, you got to be prepared to fight. You can't underestimate nobody. And the guy clipped him. The guy clipped him with a good shot. Looked like it was a good right hand. And he wobbled him a little bit, but luckily Vlad was able to bounce back and get the KO. And I spoke to him about that. You can't underestimate nobody. You got to be ready when that bell rings. You got to be ready against anybody. We may be sparring with some other top guys. I'm expecting that we will be boxing with Tony Yoko.
Wow.
Did we pronounce his name right?
I think so. That's great sparring,
Yeah.
Tony Yoko. Listen, if Yoko comes into camp, you let me know because I'd love to get an interview with Yoko. I like Yoko. I think he's a heavyweight champion in the making.
Yeah, I expect that, in the very near future that we're gonna be Vlad has already boxed Tony Yoko.
Has he?
Yeah, he has. And I think in the very near future we're gonna go into Paris, France, and box with him. I expect that.
You mean you sparred with him?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna spar with him. I expect that. I look forward to it. Vlad has been in with everybody, and I've even spoken to Vladimir Klitschko, and it could be that that we'll even get a couple of weeks to spar with Vladimir Klitschko.
Okay. On the subject of Klitschko, will we see him in 2021?
Hey, stay by the window. Keep your eye on the window,
What sort of shape is Vlad in? Do you know?
Vladimir Klitschko has said that he'd spar with Vlad Tsarenko, so that tells you the kind of shape that Vladimir Klitschko is in. I asked him, could he come in and spar with us in Ukraine? And Vladimir says, yes, when I come to Ukraine, maybe I can do it for you, But Vladimir Klitschko is he's in great shape.
Check this out.
He's in great shape.
Gorguja says this. I heard Usyk's manager and translator Alex, the guy in all these interviews, scored the fight a draw for Chisora Usyk.
Who said that?
Gorguja, he's pretty on the money. And he's saying that he thinks that Alex, the guy in who translates all Usyk's interviews, scored the fight a draw.
Alex from K2?
Yeah, scored the fight a draw. Do you believe that?
Well, it was 115, 113, 115, 113, 117, 111. So, a lot of people saw a different fight out there. But I'm more like in the area of
115, 113.
I would say 116, 112.
Okay.
So the guy at 117, 111 is not that far off. Because I just thought Dereck Chisora missed a lot of punches, and that's what wore him out. That's what made him tired. He missed a lot of punches. And the fact he was throwing punches and spinning completely around.
One other thing is, Uncle, why does Usyk do his interviews in Ukrainian when he's got decent English? Because he says, I feel, but I know his English is better than that.
Yes, English is better than that. But, when people speak in another language, they want to be, sometimes people get nervous. I know plenty of people that speak good English, but when they get around other people that speak Ukrainian, they feel they're doing what's most comfortable for them. Vasil Lomachenko, he talks to me in English, but he speaks Ukrainian and other venues.
Do you think Lomachenko can come back and be the great fighter that everyone says he is, or they claim he is?
Well, he's 34.
34, 35, yeah.
Yeah, it's very difficult at that weight class. It's very, very difficult. Big men last longer, but Lomachenko and those guys, they got to make the weight, and making that weight is a very difficult thing to come back and look great. I don't know what extent the damage of the shoulder has done. You know, we don't know. You know, we have to find out what the extent of the damage of that shoulder injury. Can he have 1-2 more good fights? Yeah, but I think that the clock is ticking on him. You know, because you got a lot of young killers out there that's coming.
Okay.
But I do think that Lomachenko made the best of the time that he had in boxing.
Okay. What have you made of Anthony Joshua's training to lead to his Usyk fight, and then big wide punches he's throwing again?
Ask the question again.
What have you made of Joshua's training so far? The videos he's put out of him throwing them big wide punches again.
Well, I can tell you one thing. You know, Joshua's got to tighten his act up, because Usyk is going to be looking to make a good showing against him or Tyson Fury. So I think it's more likely going to be Anthony Joshua. You know, so he's got to tighten everything up. He's got to tighten everything up, because Usyk is going to look to be out slick Anthony. You know, I would have him to out slick him and counter punch him. But I wouldn't have him moving around the ring like he moved around the ring against Chisora. No, I'd have him slick. I'd have him stay right in the pocket and out slick him and counter punch. All of that running around the ring, bouncing around the ring, I don't think he needs to do that. I would have stopped that there after the 6th round. I would have stopped it. You know, I could see him moving around the first 2-3 rounds, but after that, I would have told him to settle down and stop counter punching. And he had plenty of counter punching opportunities that he didn't do.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Uncle. Do you have any other messages do you have anything else you would like to say?
Hey, just tell the journalists out there, all the journalist guys, you know, do the right thing. You know, speak your mind based on the knowledge, based on your boxing knowledge. Speak your mind. Tell the truth, you know. Don't go out there and because you'll be doing the fans and the fighters a disservice if you tell lies. So speak the truth as you see it. Don't try to sugarcoat nothing. Don't try to be friends with nobody. Go out there and tell the truth on what you see based on what your boxing knowledge is. That's the service that you'll be doing to the people who pay attention to boxing. I love the sport of boxing. We have to respect the fans too. We have to respect them, because without them, we're nothing. And we have to respect the fighters. If we want the fighters to get better, we have to be critical of them when there's room to be critical, and applaud them when there's room for applause. But don't tell neither of them any lies. Don't make some fictitious picture be that it's not. No,
just finally, there's a little debate going on in the room. People are debating about themselves. They're saying that the way Usyk before he came into this fight, he was meant to be levels above Dereck Chisora, but now people are making Chisora out to be some pound for pound champion. The way that he troubled Usyk, and that because of that, and people say that Chisora is not really that great a heavyweight. They're saying that any heavyweight can walk down Usyk now.
I think that Oleksandr Usyk is going to get better. I think he's going to get better. I think that, you know, he has a window to shine. I think he's going to get better. Especially if he sits down, reassesses what happened the other night. There's no more time for guessing. He's out of time. He's 33 years old. He has to go now. This might be the prime of his career right now. So he has to sit down and make assessments. He got to sit down and make decisions. get somebody in there that know what they're doing. You know, your friends that they may be, it look like they're trying to be friends with him instead of being their trainers. They look like they're trying to be friends with him. So he has to sit down and make this. He's the CEO of Usyk. He's the CEO, so he's got to sit down and say, you know what? I've got to bring in a mindset that's going to make me better.
So,
all right.
We're back
Lennox Lewis did it. Vladimir Klitschko did it. He has to do that. If he doesn't do that there, he's going to be. If he doesn't do that there, he's going to be sitting around years from now saying, "Damn, I should have listened."
How does a Daniel Dubois do against Usyk? I think Daniel Dubois is pretty one-dimensional, to be honest.
Daniel Dubois against Usyk.
Yes.
I think Daniel Dubois is just too big, too strong right now. I mean, you know, I'm just going on the Usyk that I saw the other night. I'm just talking about the Usyk I saw the other night. No, I think Dubois right now is too much. It's too much. Even though he has limited experience compared to Usyk, I think Dubois' strength, physical strength, his boxing ability, his power would get him over. He'd get the decision, maybe the TKO.
Joe Joyce versus Oleksandr Usyk.
I think Joe Joyce is a different animal now, you know. He's a different animal now. And I think the first fight, Usyk beat him, but I think that now Joe Joyce, again, based on Usyk I saw the other night, he'd just be too strong for Usyk. I mean, I saw Usyk ball up on the ropes a couple of times, you know. In the first couple of rounds, I saw him balled up against the ropes, and Chisora didn't do nothing. I think Joe Joyce would take advantage of that.
Yeah, of course he would. Of course he would. All right, Uncle Bashir.
He would bang that body hard.
Yeah, he would.
Bang it.
He would. Yeah. Coach Chris ends by saying, very rare to move from cruiserweight to heavyweight. Now you just see how good Evander Holyfield was.
Yeah, Evander Holyfield was a special kind of fighter. He was special. He was special.
Let me ask you this, Uncle. Just the final question. The Roy Jones that fought John Ruiz versus Oleksandr Usyk. Who wins at heavyweight?
I think Usyk would win that fight because Roy Jones had a lot of trickiness about his style. You know, and he would try to box with Usyk. He wouldn't try to punch with Usyk. He would try to box with him. And Usyk would box with Roy. But I think Roy is awkward, and I think Usyk is awkward. And I think that Roy would have no advantage over Usyk, but I think Usyk would have the advantage over Roy. So wow. I would pick Usyk.
Interesting.
I would pick Usyk in that fight by knockout.
Wow.
I'll pick him by knockout.
Wow. Okay, then. One more. The President versus Usyk. He's a pressure fighter. He can punch.
Yeah,
he takes a great shot.
That's a dangerous fight.
That's a dangerous fight.
Prime on prime. You know, I'd have to go with the President. Because he wouldn't let me. Like I said, that Chisora had a window of opportunity to rip body shots, and he didn't do it. He tried to tie Usyk up with the left hand and would slap him with the right hand. The President wouldn't try to tie Usyk up. He would just sit and would go to the body. He would break Usyk's arms. He'd break his ribs. He'd break his arms. President can punch.
Is Andy Ruiz tailor-made for Usyk?
Oh, that would be a great fight. That would be a great fight.
I think so too. The
chemistry would make a great fight. I would like to see Andy Ruiz versus Oleksandr Usyk. That would be a great fight. And luckily, they didn't put Usyk in there with Ruiz in this fight.
The Ruiz that fought Parker. That Ruiz.
Yeah. You know, there'll go another good fight. Parker versus Usyk.
Yep.
I think that's a good matchup. I think that's a good matchup. I think Usyk would win. 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 I think Usyk would w think it's a good matchup.
Yeah. And I love the levels. 1 minute to see the imaginable levels of Oleksandr Usyk. Like 1 minute, like we saw what he did against Dereck Chisora, and that was a level there. And he did raise the level. Usyk never raised the level. No point against Chisora. He fought one way all of the fight, one pace all the fight. I'm not sure how he suddenly can raise his levels for Ruiz and all the other guys we've mentioned there. He seems to fight the same pace.
Hey, Usyk got time. He got time to sit down and reassess what happened. But I'll tell you one thing, he's out of time when it comes to getting some mindset in that corner that's going to let him go. You can't go out there and be your own boss inside that ring. You got to get somebody's mind and some eyes in there that can tell you when to go. They missed the opportunity, man. The man was dead tired. 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th round. You didn't see that? Nobody saw that? I would have told him, I said, listen, man, we ain't got to do that moving no more. Just sit down and walk to him now. And I'm telling you, if Usyk had sat down and started taking the fight to Chisora couldn't hit him.
Oh, well, people.
He couldn't hit him.
Well, Uncle, check this out. So he says, Max P says, Usyk didn't need to raise his game. He knew he was in front. He'll raise his levels when he fights the better opposition. Well, I want to know where these levels are because I still ain't seen them levels yet. He's been workmanlike, and that's it.
Okay. Tell him that's why he's who he is, and I am who he is. I am who I am.
Absolutely, Uncle. Absolutely.
because no, he'll raise his opportunity. He'll raise his level when he gets to better opposition. But what about the impression that you're trying to make on the people to make them believe? I suppose that doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter because he'll raise his game when it comes time. So I think the other night was a perfect time to raise your game, to make people believe in you. But like I said, one writer wrote that he left more questions than anything else.
Absolutely.
Let me go. It's late at night. I'm going to bed.
Uncle, thank you so much. As always, we appreciate you, and we'll speak to you soon.
Okay, and all you people out there in television land, go to sleep.
Thank you very much, Uncle. Once again, everybody, thank you for listening. This has been James Ali Bashir with BWTM Sports. We're out. Thanks for watching.
See ya.
See ya.